Imagine the most profound isolation possible. You are floating in an expanse of water so vast and deeply blue that it borders on absolute black. In every direction, the horizon is a razor-sharp line dividing sky and sea. If you were to look for another human being, you would not look across the water. You would look up. Directly above you, orbiting 250 miles in the exosphere, are the astronauts aboard the International Space Station. They are closer to you than anyone on Earth. This is not a thought experiment. This is a mathematical certainty. Welcome to Point Nemo, the Oceanic Pole of Inaccessibility, and the single most remote location on the surface of our planet. Located at exactly 48 degrees, 52 minutes south, and 123 degrees, 23 minutes west, Point Nemo is defined entirely by what it lacks. It lacks land, it lacks human presence, and strangely enough, it lacks almost all biological life. To reach the nearest speck of solid ground, you would have to travel over 1,600 miles. Because of these vast distances, Point Nemo was not discovered by a ship sailing the seas, but by a computer program. In 1992, a survey engineer named Hervoye Lucatella used a geospatial model to calculate the exact point in the ocean farthest from any landmass. He named it Point Nemo, a tribute to the captain from Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. The name itself is Latin for no one, a perfect moniker for a coordinate where no one ever goes. The isolation of Point Nemo goes far beyond just its distance from civilization. It is located dead center within the South Pacific Gyre, a massive rotating ocean current that acts like a biological desert. This vortex pushes nutrient-rich waters away, preventing the growth of phytoplankton. Without this foundational layer, the entire oceanic food web collapses. There are no massive schools of fish, no apex predators, and no thriving ecosystems. It is a sterile aquatic wasteland. However, it is exactly this absolute emptiness that makes Point Nemo incredibly valuable to human civilization. It serves as the ultimate insurance policy for the space age. When multi-ton satellites, cargo ships, and space stations reach the end of their operational lifespans, they become a massive liability. They cannot simply be left in orbit, as they would contribute to the growing cloud of space debris, posing a catastrophic threat to future missions. They must be brought down. But bringing a structure the size of a multi-story building back through the Earth's atmosphere is a violent, unpredictable process. The immense heat of re-entry melts and shatters the spacecraft, turning it into a shower of high-velocity, burning shrapnel. To ensure that none of this debris falls on populated areas, global space agencies required a target. They needed a place so vast and so devoid of life that the probability of a human casualty was effectively zero. They found Point Nemo. Today, the ocean floor beneath this remote coordinate is a high-tech graveyard. It is the final resting place for over 260 spacecraft, a submerged museum of human ingenuity resting in total darkness. The Soviet Union was the first to utilize this dumping ground, followed by NASA, the European Space Agency, and the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency. The most famous resident of this abyssal cemetery arrived in March of 2001. For 15 years, the Soviet space station Mir had been a symbol of human endurance, a 130-ton marvel of engineering orbiting the Earth. But when its time came, engineers initiated a controlled deorbit. As Mir slammed into the atmosphere, it tore apart into thousands of burning fragments, streaking across the sky of the South Pacific like a massive, artificial meteor shower. The heavier pieces, the dense titanium nodes, the engine blocks, the reinforced pressure vessels, survived the inferno and plummeted into the freezing waters of Point Nemo, sinking thousands of feet into the abyssal plain. This graveyard is still active. Sometime in the early 2030 decade, the International Space Station, the most expensive and complex structure ever built by humanity, weighing over 400 tons, will make this same fiery descent. Its massive solar arrays and habitation modules will be precisely navigated to shatter over this exact patch of ocean, joining Mir in the cold, crushing depths. Yet, even in a place seemingly devoid of life and defined by the dead machinery of the cosmos, Point Nemo has managed to generate its own terrifying mythology. In the summer of 1997, the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration detected something impossible. Using a network of underwater hydrophones originally designed by the military to track submarines, scientists picked up an ultra-low frequency sound echoing across the Pacific Basin. It was one of the loudest unidentified underwater sounds ever recorded. Researchers dubbed it the bloop. The audio profile of the bloop was baffling. It did not match the seismic signature of an earthquake or a volcanic eruption. Instead, its frequency variation closely mirrored that of a living marine animal. To produce a sound that loud, the creature would have to be exponentially larger than a blue whale, the largest known animal on Earth. And the origin point of this massive, terrifying sound was pinpointed to coordinates just a few hundred miles from Point Nemo. For years, the mystery of the bloop fueled wild speculation. The idea that an undiscovered leviathan was lurking in the most isolated region of the ocean captured the public's imagination, evoking cosmic horrors sleeping beneath the waves. It wasn't until the late 2000s that scientists finally provided a definitive explanation. The bloop was not the call of a monster, but the sound of an icequake. A massive iceberg had broken away from an Antarctic glacier, and as it fractured and scraped along the ocean floor, it generated an incredibly powerful acoustic wave. The monster was a myth, but the reality of Point Nemo remains equally awe-inspiring. It is a paradox of our modern world. It is a place completely untouched by human hands, yet littered with the remnants of our highest technological achievements. It is a sterile, empty desert, yet it holds the wreckage of our most ambitious dreams. As you look out across the unending expanse of the South Pacific, there is no sign of what lies beneath. The surface gives away none of its secrets. But miles down, in the absolute, crushing darkness, the skeletons of titanium and aluminum sit quietly in the mud. Point Nemo is a testament to the sheer scale of our planet, a reminder of the vast, terrifying emptiness of the ocean, and the final, silent destination for the ships that once sailed the stars.